All right, students, welcome back. We are back on Unit 3. Again, I've updated grades on Canvas. I'm going to try and make it brief today because I am short on time with meetings and such today. But yeah, grades are updated on Canvas except for all the missing assignments. So if you have a missing assignment, be aware that that grade will become a 0 for that assignment. So again, make sure I'm finalizing a few grades this week. If you have something missing for partial credit, get it turned in before the end of the week, and you can still get some points for that as I finalize the Q1 grades. Again, contact my Google Voice number if you have questions or concerns. I'm going to try and contact a number of you who have not been completing some of the work and so on and so forth. Okay. Quick updates, guys. Again, Q1 grades being finalized. Monday, I posted yesterday the vocab to work on, guys, for that day. That'll be due on Friday. And then we will have our next quizzes, potential quizzes and notebook checks coming up in the future. Let's go ahead and start our Go Blue questions, guys. Number 1, what are the 3 types of rocks and what differentiates them? 2, what are some examples of weathering? And 3, what is erosion? Pause the video, write that out on page 4, see what you think. And our correct answers, guys, include igneous is going to be magma, molten rock, as you remember from yesterday on page 3. Again, these answers are on page 3. Secondly, we have sedimentary, which is fossils. That's a key thing. Anything with shells, fossils is going to be sedimentary, as well as pieces of other rock clumping together. And then don't mix this one up with igneous. Metamorphic is going to be heat and pressure, not magma. Simply put, heat and pressure. And then, guys, number 2, for those answers, we got some examples of our weathering in general. Frost wedging, we ended on yesterday. Potholes, again, water seeps into the ground and expands. When it freezes, it's going to make a pothole. Dissolving rock, we have acid rain as well. That's a big issue we'll get into. And then rust. Any metal being left outside can break down into its original form, that is rust. And our last question here, what is erosion? A lot of us may think it's the same thing as weathering. It is weathering, but more specifically, guys, erosion is going to be just the removal of rock from one place or removal of material from one place to the next. So like, for example, down here we see this picture of this river in a canyon. Canyons are usually formed in deserts because rivers will dissolve the rock as they flow down. Kind of like a hot knife cutting through butter, that river is sliced and dissolved through all this rock over time. That is an example of erosion, moving rock from one place to the next. Go ahead and update your table of contents, guys. Again, I got 6 minutes, so I'll try to be brief here. We've got glacial, gravity, and wind erosion. We'll get into that tomorrow. We already talked about that. For our video of today, guys, again, how can wind reshape mountains and valleys? Again, how can wind reshape mountains and valleys? We've talked about water. We've talked about ice, but I want to know specifically how wind's going to be reshaping that. Let me go ahead and load that. Again, it's your responsibility to make sure you can watch all of that, and please ignore that answer there. I mean, when you think about it, guys, wind, it's just wind. It's not going to do anything to a mountain, am I right? But it does actually do some damage, and I will go ahead. I'm going to post you that link online, and you can get that answer another time. I maybe play a clip of that. Again, my apologies for the advertising there with all the election stuff happening, but yeah. If you go, I'll give you guys a little.
Let's try some word association.
I'll give you guys a little.
You just say the first
here.
word
It's
that pops into your head.
And in the video, at the 4-minute mark, Bill Nye's going to talk about.
Change it.
Talk about water erosion. Talk about cross wedging. But then you're going to get to this scene right here. Okay? He's going to have a little. Kind of a little air blaster that has some stuff in it, which you'll see in the video, and it's going to mess with the edges and the tops of those mountains. So be sure to write that question down on page 4 and answer that through that video that I will be posting to Edsby later today, or not Edsby, Canvas later today. So if you look here, okay, again, how can wind reshape mountains and valleys? Ignore that. Okay, let's do our question, guys. Again, key thing to know, which type of rock is formed from heat and pressure? Gotta know. We just did it. It's going to be C, metamorphic. Okay. Again, that vocab's due Friday. Let's continue from where we left off, guys. Again, I've got 4 minutes left here. Frost wedging. Again, keep in mind the water, when it freezes, it's going to expand, crank and crack open the rock like a car jack would, putting up a car, right, lifting that up. I've got another video clip here for you as well to check out that kind of explains that. It is kind of an old school video. It is, again, a little older, so bear with me on that. But you're going to see here, what it's going to show you guys is, again, that water filling in those cracks and breaking it.
When water enters a crack in a rock, it expands as it freezes overnight.
It's going to keep doing that.
When the ice turns to water and freezes again, it forces the crack open a little.
And you guys will need to watch the rest of that on your own as well. Like I've said before, guys, YouTube has issues with us with playing the entire video. That would be problematic for the licensing stuff. Okay, ice safety. Keep in mind, guys, if you ever live in the north, be careful with ice, whether you slip on it. There's ice delays for school sometimes. Also, never walk on a lake or a pond when it's frozen. You can go ice fishing, but that's under conditions where the ice is deep enough for you to walk on. So being very careful. You go ice climbing, you got to have spikes on your shoes, things like that. I'm going to be quick about this, guys. Again, some new stuff here. This should be on page 4. Again, my bad. We are on page 3. On page 3, the Go Blue, I believe, might have been on page 4 or page 2. If we look back, let's double check here. Okay, so we had the Go Blue on page 4, but we are now back on page 3. Back on page 3. I have 3 things I want to show you very quickly with 1 practice question. Okay, so another example, we got to know mechanical weathering, then chemical weathering. Another example of mechanical weathering is tree roots. So we had frost wedging, but tree roots actually very slowly, they can dig through very hard rock. So they dig through rock, they can cut through it and break it open as well. Using the pressure of the tip of the tree, again, very strong in strength. We're not aware of it as much because it happens very slowly and it's underground. They actually can damage, guys, the undersides of houses. That's how strong they are. Okay. Chemical weathering. Go ahead. Again, what's in red, guys? You need to write everything that's in red on page 3. Write this on page 3, mechanical weathering. Next is chemical weathering, guys. Super important. Instead of breaking the rock into bits and pieces, you're going to break the rock down chemically. You're going to dissolve it. You're going to melt it. You're going to dissolve it, burn it, maybe have it go on fire, right? So that is chemical weathering. We're going to change the chemical composition. An example here, we have rust, the rusting of this metal here. Again, something catching on fire and chemicals. So with any reactions with water, oxygen, carbon dioxide, and acid rain are examples of that. So that is chemical weathering. Again, rust and acid rain are examples. Okay. Quick question, guys. Frost wedging is an example of which? A, chemical weathering, B, mechanical, or C, both A and B. Pause video, think about it. Answer is going to be B, mechanical, B, mechanical. Last thing of the day I want you guys to know is what increases the rate of weathering. Last thing on page 3, it's going to be rock type and composition, guys. What the rock's made of affects how fast it can dissolve and break down. It's going to be surface area. The more surface area a rock has, the faster it'll break down as well. And then topography, guys, we'll get into that tomorrow. But topography, the steeper the slope of something, the more it's going to break down because the water is going to flow a lot faster and at a greater strength. So those are all going to be ways that erosion or breakdown can increase or decrease. That concludes our lesson for today, guys. Again, I'll answer questions on Canvas or call me on my Google Voice app. And again, I'm going to post the other example video of the rusting on Canvas as well later today. Mr. Campbell signing out. Take care. Have a great day, guys. Check your Canvas grades. Get everything situated and done.